So today I want to talk about truth and transparency in business. So in all of my years of being in the pie business, and guys, it's 27 years, I've learned a lot about what customers need, what me as a consumer needs as well out in the marketplace, and that is honesty and openness and transparency from the company that I'm going to do business with. I don't like surprises and I don't like secrets. And I want to talk to you about how I had discovered one of the vendors that I was purchasing something from slip in GMOs. And I talked about this a few videos ago. It was quite controversial, but you as my customer, my pie fans that have been watching these videos, you know how I feel about GMOs and Roundup and glyphosate on human food, or animal food for that matter. So a few weeks ago I spoke at the MABA, the Michigan Agri-Business Association conference in Lansing. I talked about that in this other video. But one of the things that I seemed to shake people up about was talking about how I felt the Michigan Sugar Company, who I supported for many years, our company buys about 500,000 pounds of sugar a year. So we were a pretty big customer, maybe a mid-sized customer. But the Michigan Sugar Company, a little bit about them is they are owned by all of the Michigan beet sugar farmers. They're a co-op. And so they bring all of their beets to the processing plant, and there they process and package for Pioneer Sugar or Big Chief Sugar. So we were doing a lot of business with these guys. And their distributor, Dawn Foods, was bringing sugar into our bakehouse every week by the pallet. I had told you about how I was doing a video for Whole Foods, a vendor spotlight, and I had told them that I supported Michigan beet sugar. And I did not realize, and this was about 2004, 2005, I guess, when that video came out, that all of the farmers had switched over from growing normal, regular food or regular beets to genetically engineered beets, but they never told us. There was no phone call, there was no email notice, got nothing in the mail. The salesman never, came to inform us, their customers, that they were now switching from the regular normal beet sugar, the beet that's been growing like a normal beet for 10,000 years that we've been doing agriculture, to now all of a sudden within 1 year 99% of the beet sugar farmers decided to go ahead and make this huge switch to growing a genetically engineered beet. Like I said, it would have been nice to get a phone call, some kind of notice. Be transparent. If you're proud of what you're doing in your company, you feel that it's safe, that it's healthy, that there's been a lot of scientific studies, everything is well and good for the soil and for the earth, for the biology in the soil. It's all well and good for our waterways and for our air and for our human health. Then be proud of it and put it right on your label. This is genetically engineered food product. If it's safe and everything, why was Monsanto so afraid of calling it out on their label? After I got called out on that video, I went right back into our bakehouse, went over to the pallets and pallets of sugar that we had, and I read the label, and nothing on the label ever indicated that it was a genetically engineered sugar beet. It just said sugar, or it just said beet sugar, or it just said Michigan sugar. Nothing on there said it was bioengineered, GMO, sprayed with glyphosate, nothing. So guys, I'm all about science. It's really great what we're doing in a lot of agriculture nowadays, but this genetically engineered food, I have a lot of questions about it. I was being a little derogatory, but I asked the Michigan Sugar Company guys that were at the trade show, I'm like, I want to come back to you. I want to do business with you. It's been, 15 years. I've not been able to buy sugar from Michigan because of your genetically engineered beet here that you have. Can you perhaps wash that beet off? You spray it with Roundup or glyphosate early on in the growing season. Maybe it washes off from the rain. Maybe when you harvest it, you can scrub it, maybe we could peel it, and I know that you can't get the glyphosate out of that beet because it's been gene spliced, right? So they take the DNA strand of the beet or corn or soybean and they splice it and they enter glyphosate into that DNA strand. So it becomes part glyphosate. So when you spray that field with glyphosate, it can be showered with glyphosate and it doesn't die, it doesn't wilt, it doesn't affect it because it is part glyphosate. It kills the weeds and everything else, around it, but it doesn't affect the GMO food, the GMO beet. And I said, so when we, the second party, right, the consumer, consumes that genetically engineered food, it comes into our body, right? There's no getting it off of that beet sugar before you processed it. No, you're going to be eating it. But they said it's better for the farmer. They don't have to run their tractors over their fields so many more times trying to get, these bad weeds out. It's good for the farmers. They can buy less pesticide. It's good for the farmers. They have an ease of not having all these weeds grow up. So it's great for the farmers, good for that. But did you think on down the line and how it's going to affect, the children and the men and women and everyone who is eating the sugar? And I don't think they realize that, it's going to affect us. So what they tell me is that glyphosate affects plants by killing them because they have shikimate pathways. Well, the biology in our gut also has a shikimate pathway. So when we're consuming food all day long, all of this high fructose corn syrup, GMO soybean oil, genetically modified beet sugar, oatmeal is sprayed with glyphosate as a desiccant. So it's all day long we're being hit with glyphosate in our food stream, and it's killing off our gut microbiome. And I'll include a link below from a doctor who has done a lot of research from Purdue University. I'll also include a link below from Dr. Stephanie Seneff, a chief research scientist at MIT. So at Achatz Handmade Pie Company, we really value truth and transparency. We have to trust that the food coming into our facility is all natural, that we're getting pure vanilla, not vanillin. We're getting, things with no partially hydrogenated oils in it. In fact, we cut the soybean oil out of our shortening here last year because we couldn't trust that the soybean oil wasn't genetically modified. We have to go to great lengths to search and find this out. It's not transparent. I thought it was signed into law. I thought the USDA said that, that vendors and that suppliers of big food products and all of the food in the grocery store needed to have it labeled that yes, indeed, they used a GE. Maybe they put a label on the food that says bioengineered something. Let us know. I don't see any of that transparency going on in the grocery store. Do you? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Let me hear in the comments below what you think about truth and labeling. So if they're so very proud of the ingredients that they're growing and all the genetically modified food that's in our food stream, they should really be calling it out loud and proud. So here with our leadership team at Achatz Pie Company, if we're going to make a change, especially a big change, like over there at Michigan Beet Sugar, they made a big change. I mean, we really go through it a lot. We talk about it, do measurements, we do financial studies on it. But man, most of the conversation, goes around about how our customers will accept a change. And so we do some surveys, just all kinds of things before we make a change. And we don't make changes overnight. There's a lot of discussion around the table with our leadership. We have over 100 full-time employees that we also think about how is it going to affect our people? What are these changes going to be like for them? So we have to make really good decisions, and it takes a lot of conversations. So I'm just really amazed that, to me it seems like the Michigan Sugar Company didn't have these discussions. I heard from a guy that grew up on a sugar beet farm in Saginaw. He said we grew sugar beets, and they asked very few farmers, would you like to try this genetically engineered seed on your farm? We want to see how it goes. So it was a very small test group of farmers. When they harvested them, they kept them separate. They made sure that no deer could get to the beets throughout the winter and eat them, because something may go wrong and it would be spread throughout the deer population. So it was a very small controlled test group. And they realized, oh yeah, we used less, herbicide, less pesticide. We didn't have to run our tractors so much. It was great. He said in 1 year, 99% of the beet sugar farmers in Michigan transitioned. That seems like a really fast, quick decision. 1 year, it doesn't seem like there was a whole lot of tests, a whole lot of phone calls that went out, a whole lot of, testing the consumer. And when they did that, they lost one of their biggest customers, which is Hershey. Hershey's chocolate said, we are not buying your sugar beets anymore if you're going to grow them in a genetically engineered seed form. So what a shock that must have been to the Michigan beet sugar farmers and their co-op there, right? Hershey's got to buy a lot of sugar, so they had to go south and buy sugarcane. Once I found out about it, which was an accident, I had to be called out by customers who knew more than I did. It was really embarrassing. So once I found out that it was genetically engineered food that I had been using in your pies, I stopped right away and we went to sugarcane. I wish I had another choice here in Michigan. I wish there was more choices for me. I feel like I have to buy Florida sugarcane. I hate trucking it up from Florida, but that's the situation that we're in right now until someone here in Michigan comes back and says we're going to grow sugar beets in a normal, natural way. Hopefully in an organic way. That would even be better for us. But I'm looking for a few farmers that I can work with that would be willing to grow all natural beet for us here at Achatz Pie Company. So I value truth in labeling, and I value transparency, and I know that you can value the same here from Achatz Pie Company. We are open and transparent with a lot of the decisions that we make that concern our customers. Man, we want to let you know. So my advice, just because Monsanto tells you not to claim it on your label, to keep it hidden, don't let the public know that you're using genetically engineered food, doesn't mean it's right. Even if the USDA says don't claim it on your label, you don't have to, doesn't mean you should hide it. Why not claim it? So I'm saying just because you can doesn't mean you should. So again, be transparent with your consumer. Let the American people know what they're getting in their food. Don't hide it. All right, you guys, thank you for joining me. Feel free to subscribe to this channel, share it with someone, give me a thumbs up if you like it, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.